I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with a 3-minute cattle market update for Friday, September the 4th, where we're seeing some support come back here in the cattle market mid to late week, similar to what we saw last week, but not quite as strong a support. But also the nosedive that we saw earlier in the week was not nearly as sharp this week as it was last week. And we talked last week about this market going to bounce up and down here for probably the next several months and not return back up to the highs and slowly get lower. But I don't think that's the case here in the last couple, 3 weeks. I think this is all the same drop or correction here. And I'm like a lot of people, I think this market is due to come back some, especially with the fed cattle market. We're going into the tightest supplies of fed cattle that we've seen in this whole cycle here. So surely we're going to see some increase in demand for it. We saw the board come back. It kind of quit going down on Wednesday, had some steady losses Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday, here we saw some pretty good gains, 37 to 57 cents on live cattle and feeder cattle from 80 to $1.80, with the far out fronts gaining pretty good here the last couple days. We talk about the north and the south. The north up there, the northern feedlot areas, Nebraska and Iowa, and specifically Iowa, where all the farmer feeders are, they're the ones that established the negotiated fed cattle trade now. All these big feed yards and these big commercial guys, they're all on some kind of a grid deal or selling out front. They're not really establishing the market anymore. So it's the seed corn cap guys, the bib overall guys, they're the real cattlemen out here that are establishing some negotiated trade. They're struggling right now because they've got a lot of heavy cattle and their market ready supplies are a lot heavier than they are down south. And that's mostly because they had bigger fall-born calves coming out that they didn't take to grass. They put right on feed, and those cattle are weighing something now, and they're really big. Down in the southern plains, the real market-ready supplies of cattle, and they've lightened their carcasses up a little bit, are not real heavy right now. So a lot of these cattle that are up north are getting wheels under them going down south to slaughter. But northern plains is running 140 to 142 and kind of some scattered sales so far this week. And dress basis 222 to 223 with a few up to 225 over in Nebraska. But that main 222 is about $6 lower. Now the southern plains is probably going to get a lot more if they ever do sell any negotiated sales. There's word that they've sold some cattle as much as $5 over the weighted average, and if that's the way they want to sell them, that's fine, but they're not really ever going to get a handle on this market that way. But they're just selling off of what the farmer feeders are doing. El Reno this week in the cash feeder cattle sales, 4,200 head. That is about steady, maybe a couple bucks higher in spots. You look at your Cattle Market Central market report out of El Reno there, you can see unchanged is a pretty good thing to call it on those bigger feeders. Look at Valentine, Nebraska here on Thursday, just after lunch there. They sold 91 steers, weighed 713 at $230. That's a pretty good price. A lot of good grilling weather out there this holiday weekend. We're going to take the day off for Labor Day Monday. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.